There is water on the moon. Not flowing rivers, not frozen lakes, but trapped ancient ice, locked inside craters that haven't seen sunlight in over 2 billion years. And right now, China is building a spacecraft to go find it. What happens if they do could change everything about how humanity lives in space. Here is the mission nobody is talking about loudly enough. The lunar South Pole is one of the strangest places in the solar system. Picture a world where some mountain peaks are bathed in almost perpetual sunlight, while craters just a few kilometers away sit in shadows so permanent and so cold that scientists call them cold traps. Temperatures inside those craters can drop to -250 degrees Celsius, colder than Pluto. Nothing disturbs them, nothing reaches them. And that's exactly why they're so important. Whatever falls into those craters, comets, asteroids, ancient volcanic outgassing, stays there, frozen, preserved, waiting. Scientists have suspected for decades that water ice was hiding down there. Then, in 2009, NASA's L-Cross mission slammed a rocket stage into a South Pole crater and watched what got kicked up. The answer? Water. Real, confirmed water ice. And since then, orbital data from India's Chandrayaan-1, NASA's LRO, and others have painted an increasingly detailed picture of just how much might be there. Estimates range into the hundreds of millions of metric tons. Now keep that number in mind, because we're going to come back to it and what it actually means for the future of human civilization off Earth. Enter Chang'e 7. China's Chang'e program has already achieved things that felt impossible just 15 years ago. Chang'e 4 landed on the far side of the moon, a first in human history. Chang'e 5 collected and returned lunar samples. And now Chang'e 7 is being built to do something even more ambitious: conduct the most comprehensive exploration of the lunar South Pole ever attempted. The mission is currently targeted for launch around 2026, and it isn't just one spacecraft, it's a fleet. Here is where it gets genuinely fascinating. Chang'e 7 is designed as a 5-component system. You have an orbiter circling above, mapping the terrain in extraordinary detail, a lander touching down on the surface, a rover driving across the regolith, analyzing rocks and soil, a relay satellite keeping communications alive on the far side. And then, this is the part that stops you in your tracks: a small flying probe, a mini hovering vehicle designed to literally fly into the dark, permanently shadowed craters, the ones too dangerous and too cold for a rover to enter, and look directly for water ice. No mission has ever attempted anything like this at the moon. We are talking about sending a robotic scout into one of the most hostile environments in the known solar system. So why does finding water ice matter so much? Let's think about this practically for a moment.
Every kilogram of water you launch from Earth costs an extraordinary amount of money and energy. Water is heavy. Rocket fuel to lift it is expensive. But water at the moon's South Pole would be local. You could extract it. And water, once you have it, isn't just drinking water. Split it into hydrogen and oxygen and you have rocket propellant. You have breathable air. You have radiation shielding material. Suddenly, the moon stops being a destination and starts being a refueling station, a launching pad for deeper missions to Mars and beyond. This is why space agencies and private companies are circling the lunar South Pole like it's the most valuable real estate in the solar system, because it is. Now here's something that reframes the entire picture. The ice in those craters isn't just frozen water. Scientists believe some of it could be ancient, billions of years old, delivered by comets and asteroids from across the early solar system. That means it could carry chemical signatures from the dawn of our solar system, organic molecules, isotopes, a kind of cosmic time capsule. Chang'e 7 isn't just a resource scouting mission, it's also a scientific treasure hunt through deep time. Whatever the flying probe finds in those craters, it won't just tell us about the moon, it could tell us about where Earth's water came from, about the building blocks of life, about the origins of everything. And there is a geopolitical dimension to all of this that you cannot ignore. The United States, through the Artemis program, is also targeting the lunar South Pole. NASA's Viper rover was designed specifically to hunt for water ice, though it recently faced significant budget challenges. India landed near the South Pole in 2023 with Chandrayaan-3. The lunar South Pole has quietly become one of the most contested territories in modern space exploration. Whoever maps it best, whoever extracts its resources first, whoever establishes a permanent presence there, that nation shapes the architecture of all future deep space activity. Chang'e 7 is not just a science mission, it is a statement. Back to that number, hundreds of millions of metric tons of water ice. To put that in perspective, if even a small fraction of that is accessible and extractable, it could sustain a permanent human presence on the moon for generations. It could fuel crewed missions to Mars. It could make the difference between space exploration being a series of expensive one-off adventures and becoming something continuous, expanding, and permanent. That water, sitting frozen in the dark for billions of years, could be the resource that turns humanity into a multi-world species. Chang'e 7 represents a new phase of lunar exploration, one that is more complex, more competitive, and more consequential than anything we saw during the Apollo era. The moon is no longer just a destination for flags and footprints. It is the frontier of everything that comes next.
And somewhere in a shadow that has never once felt the warmth of sunlight, an answer is waiting. An answer to whether we have what we need to stay out there, for good. If this kind of deep dive into the missions reshaping our future in space is what you're here for, hit subscribe. We cover every major development in space exploration as it happens. Drop a comment below. Do you think the water ice at the lunar South Pole will actually be as accessible as scientists hope? I read every single one. And stay close, because the next video is going to take us somewhere even further from home, somewhere that makes the moon feel like our own backyard.